Okay, so this video will cover slope and rate of change. And it's just a little bit more detail with slope and rate of change, and we want to talk about what rate of change is kind of all about. Let's say we have a kite, and it's flying at a height of, and we're going to use y for the height of the kite. So here, and it's moving, this is x seconds after you let the string out. So this is going to be the x-axis, this is that. This is time, the independent variable. You can wait a certain amount of time and then pull on the string, right? And then we have the y-axis here. So some color coding maybe will go a long way. And what we want to do is find and interpret the slope of the graph. So let's look at change in y. Change in y, which is going to be, well, how much did the y change by? Well, here's a y value, and here's a y value. So what did it look like? It looks like the y is changed by 4, so positive 4. We want to put that over change in x. Change in x. So what did the x change by? Well, it went from 0 to 5, right? So it was 5 seconds, I guess. So what does this mean? Well, it means that it went 4 feet in 5 seconds, right? So it's 4 over 5 feet per second. That's unit rate. If you just kind of take this as the rate, 4 divided by 5. So about a foot every second, the string is being let out. And we can look at the graph and we can find the slope in that way, or we can find the slope in another way, which is rise over run. Sometimes looking at a graph, it's easier to just do rise over run. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to look at this graph, and I'm going to focus on how much the graph is rising. So I'm going to start on the left side, and I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's a rise of 4. And I'm going to go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's a run of 5. So rise over run would also give me 4 over 5. So what does this mean? It means the following, okay? And I wouldn't mind typing this out. I want you to interpret the graph. So I guess what I would say is, over those 5 seconds, so over the first 5 seconds, over the first 5 seconds, 4 feet of string came out of the reel. And that's really what we want to understand. This is interpreting the slope. This is important, hence why I'm making it bold, underlined, and in red. We want to be able to understand what it means when we're looking at a slope. So this might be a familiar form of a line. We're going to start getting into y equals mx plus b. And if we look at the line above, we might wonder, what was the slope of the line above? Well, we know the slope of the line above here was 4 over 5. So if I was to do y equals mx plus b, and I was to use m for the slope, because m is the French word for monter, plus b, well, what was the y-intercept? Well, we know from previous videos that the y-intercept is where we intersect with the y-axis. It's right here. So the y-intercept, the yint, is 0, 4, but more importantly, we're just going to use 4 in this situation. So that is the equation of this line. Hopefully that's making some sense. So the red box is the equation of the line at the right. Now, when we're doing this and we're trying to write the equation of a slope-intercept line, we just need to understand what these things mean. So if this is slope, it's also m, right? And if this is the y-intercept, this is also b. So how would we write the equation of this line? Well, it would be just like we're looking at this example above. So keep that in mind. Oh, maybe I should color code how they did. So let's see. They use red for the slope, or I probably did that. Slope m, and then we used blue for the b, which I guess makes sense, blue. So this is going to be in blue, this is going to be in red, the -1/2. So y equals mx plus b. So let's just leave out a skeleton, y equals mx plus b. So b is blue, that's the y-intercept, that's 0. So where I was I was kind of talking about this being the line, y equals mx plus b, and we realize now that this is plus 0 doesn't really need to be there. I shouldn't x it, I should kind of scribble it. So the equation of this line is just y equals negative 1 over 2x. That's the slope-intercept form of this line. Now because that's a little bit of a trickier problem, and keep in mind you still have that example up there, let's write this one. So y equals mx plus b. So let's talk about that. Well, b we were doing in blue, so that's here, so plus negative 3. And if it's plus negative 3, it's really just minus 3. So I'm going to go ahead and just write, I'm just going to keep that as a minus 3 overall. So that's that. And we have the m in red, which I guess slope is m, so this is the slope, and that goes there. So that's kind of where we're at with this, writing the slope-intercept form of the line. And then we have two other types of examples. So let's see if we can do this. Well, the first thing I want to do is help you out and make sure you're able to do this problem here, 3. But before we do that, I want you to do a now you try, and I'm adding this on. Okay, so now you try. I want you to try to write the equation of the line in slope-intercept form when the y-intercept is 2 and when the slope is negative 3. Okay, so go ahead and try to do that. Pause the video and give that a shot. Or you can just continue on watching and then watch one. You'll pause for number 4 in a moment too. So this is also a now you try. So pause the video when you're ready to try those two. But let me show you one more example before we get there. I'm talking about number 3 now. So if we look at number 3 for just a moment, and we can do that. Let's see here. Okay, not working out. So if we look at number 3, we want to get y alone. The key is to get y alone. So here's how I do this. I bubble in the y. Okay, I've always done it this way for people that have had trouble understanding this, so why not all? Let's look at it this way. And I'll make it in like a purple bubble. And I'll say I want that purple bubble alone. So what's outside of the purple bubble on this side of the equation? And kind of forget about this for just a moment right here. We want to understand we're just working with the top equation. Let me see if I can do that. Here we go. Perfect. So what's outside of the purple bubble is 3x, so we're going to subtract the 3x on both sides. And that's now gone. And we have now negative 4y is equal to negative 3x plus 12. I'm putting it in the right order with the x first and the constant term after. How do you think you're going to get y alone? Because we want y alone to get this, right? So to get y alone, we need to divide by negative 4. So we'll have y is equal to, and we're dividing by negative 4, we're dividing by negative 4, we're dividing by negative 4. So y is equal to 3 over 4x minus 3. That's the slope-intercept form of the line. This, sometimes people struggle with this, so be aware that this could be a little tough for you. Take some time and make sure that you understand how to do this. There's other videos if you need to. Watch them and make sure you are sharp on it. Otherwise, let's move on. So where are we at now? Let's see. I think I want you to be sure you try these two problems right here, so make sure you do that. And we are on to this part of the page, which is 3. And this is talking about how you would actually graph a line in slope-intercept form, so how you would actually graph that. So let's think about that for a moment. And there's steps here. It's not that bad. What we want to do is be sure that we are making really nice points. So what we want to do is make some perfect points, start on the left, do the rise, do the fall, whatever we need to do, and find the run. So I'm going to show you how to graph a line. So if we were to graph this line, y equals 4x minus 1, how would we do it? Well, we need to, let's see, we need to, I guess, actually the way that this is described is it really is writing the equation of a line. So if you were looking at, let's say you were looking at this line right here, how would you write the equation of that? So let's find some perfect points in red. So I'm going to find 2 points that I find to be perfect. So it's crossing really nicely here, and I think it's crossing really nicely here. So those are my 2 perfect points. So I'm going to call that number 1. I'm going to start on the left, and I'm going to figure out the rise. Okay, and I'm going to say that the rise from the left side, we get the rise 1. And then I want to figure out the run here. So the run is going to be, from the left side, it's going to be 2. So it looks like the slope of this line, the m of this line, and we've been doing that in red, is 1 over 2. Now what is the b? What is the y-intercept? Well, I think we know how to find the y-intercept from previous videos. So we can look right here at 2. That's the y-intercept, so the b is 2. So what would the equation of this line be? Well, it'd be y is equal to, right, 1/2 x plus 2. And that is the equation of the line that I drew below. So hopefully that's making some sense. Why don't we look at these things, try to find the slope. So for right now, on this one, I want you to do the examples and try to find the slope, okay? Slope and the y-intercept. So all I want you to do is I want you to take slope, and I want you to take the y-intercept, and I want you to find each of those. So that's what you're doing, finding the slope from the line and finding the y-intercept. You don't even necessarily have to write the equation of the line. You just need to find the slope and the y-intercept separately. I'm going to take you through one more, and then the rest is now you try. So I think that for you, it's going to be 1, probably 3, and 4, all going to be now you tries. I'm going to do 2 with you. So number 2. Right here, I'm trying to find the slope. So I'm going to find a couple of perfect points. So this is a really nice point. I'm looking at where it crosses. It doesn't cross nice there. It's not good there. It's not good there. It's not good there. This one's a weird one because it's only good here on the very edge. So I'm going to erase all those arrows that I drew in, and I'm just going to put a point right there on the left side where the point is coming to the edge of the graph. So simply, I want to figure out the rise, which in this case is down. So it's -1. And then the run, which is always positive if you start on the left. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the run is 5. So I'm going to say the slope is -1 over 5. And now I'm looking for the b, the y-intercept. Well, that's wherever it crosses the y-axis. So that's, the b is 1. This is all you really need to do. If you're feeling pretty good right now, why don't you take these and put them into y equals mx plus b? Why don't you go ahead and do that? So y equals what? X plus what? Well, it would be y equals -1 over 5x. That's the m. Plus 1. That's the b. So at least find the slope and the y-intercept from these graphs. And if you're feeling good about it, go ahead and write the equation of the line for numbers 1, numbers 3, and numbers 4. And make sure you've done all the now you tries, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.